Hi, welcome to episode 6 of Cryonaut TV. I'm Jake, and today we're going to talk about automating your sounds using Serum. Things like LFOs and envelopes are a great way to bring interest and movement to your sounds, so let's go and see how we can do that exactly. Alright, so here we have Serum. A lot of you are probably already familiar with it, you've been using it for years, or maybe you just picked it up and want to get to know it a little bit better. First of all, let's go over all the different modulation options that you do have in Serum. Number one, easily missed, is the mod wheel. You can take this, you can drag it onto any option you want, filter cutoff, it's easy to tell. That's just one way to do that. The mod wheel is used for your keyboard. If you have an actual MIDI keyboard in front of you, chances are it has a pitch wheel and a mod wheel, and the mod wheel is used to control pretty much any parameter you want. The second area will be the envelope. Here we have 3 separate envelopes, and they're all basically the same, except envelope 1 is also the amp section for the whole oscillator, or the whole synth. So this envelope will control whatever parameters you assign to it, but it will also control basically the volume of the synth, whereas envelopes 2 and 3 will only control the certain parameters that you pick. Next we have the LFO section here, all 4 of these. Again, lots of different options. You have different waveforms you can pick from here, the different rate and other things here. A couple different modes. You see we have trigger, envelope, and off. So what off means is this LFO is constantly running, right? Right now, well, once you hit play, it'll be running. Or once you press a note, it'll be running. So just like with the mod wheel, you didn't actually see any effect until you hit a note. This LFO will be running even though you may not see that little line moving there. So it's not going to start from the beginning every time I hit a note. It's going to start from wherever the thing is in the cycle. And this is very useful if you want to have the same little sound or the same part of the LFO affect the sound at the beginning of every measure or the end of every measure. If you want it to sound the same all the time, then this is the way you want to do it with the off. Now, with trigger, it's going to start from the beginning of the LFO every time a note is played, no matter where it is in the measure, anything like that. So 2 very different modes that are good for different things. Lastly, we have envelope, and this is basically extending these 3 envelopes into LFOs. You can have another 4 kind of envelopes. And so what it's going to happen is it's going to play through this waveform, this cycle 1 time, and then stop. Fairly standard, but with a little bit more complexity that you can get into if you want to. Next is over here the velocity and the note section. These are kind of in the same box here. So velocity is how hard you press the key. If you don't actually have a keyboard, then you can actually set the velocity with the MIDI notes that you click and everything. And this can be really cool just to have different effects, for how hard you press the key. And then the note section is a varying effect depending on how low or how high of a note you press. So can get into interesting things there too. Then the last thing we have are these 4 macros over here. And the macros can basically just control multiple options, just like the envelopes and LFOs, but this time it's controlled to 1 knob. So instead of an LFO or envelope just modulating something for you, you can choose when to bring it up, when to bring it down, how much you want to bring it in and out, and then you can actually draw in automation in your DAW with this macro knob. Or if you're going to do anything live, you can map this knob to a MIDI controller that I don't have configured right now. And then you can use 1 knob to control, let's say, 7 different things on there. So you obviously don't have 7 hands to control all these different knobs and features, so you can use a macro to control 1 knob and do all those different things at the same time. So hopefully that helps you understand a little bit more about how to automate your sounds within Serum. If you have any questions, just let me know. Leave a comment below. Be sure to like and subscribe to my channel in this video, and leave a comment below with any other questions that you have about sound design, synthesis, music production. Let me know what you want to see next, and I'll see you next time.